Welcome to Pre-Rift. We are officially here. This is day one. We got all the official information here. So we're gonna go over what it is. If you've never done a pre-rift before, if you need a refresher, obviously sealed right now for Riftbound is very, 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 very different. If you're curious on what other sealed is like, I actually did a pretty big breakdown. Um, that video hasn't been posted. That'll be going live in the next day or two. That is where we did a full box, though. We did a box, and that's one reason why sealed is so drastically different when it comes to rule sets right now, because the same rule sets exist for sealed box, pre-rift, decks, everything. But they actually explain it a lot here in this doc. I've never actually really read the pre-rift docs before, so we'll go over it. Obviously, yes, it's low pressure, blah, blah, blah. It's meant if you're a new player, if you're an existing player, the vibes are different. And that's for the most case, I would say, with any sort of pre-release event. If you've never done Pokemon and you want to go to a Pokemon pre-rift event or pre-release event, Magic the Gathering, the crowd's a little bit different. It's not as high stakes. Most people understand that, especially, I think, especially in Magic, it's like, oh, you're brand new. Welcome. You like The Hobbit? Come join. You like Star Trek? Come join. So it's very similar. And I would say if you are feeling that with any sort of TCG, go to the pre-release events. Do the pre-release events. Pay the $20 to $40. It, I know, varies depending your market, the game. Lorcana is the same thing. But yeah. So what is pre-rift? They give you a kit. Do I have a box? Do I have a pre-rift box somewhere? I don't. Somewhere I do though. Somewhere I don't. But you're gonna get a box. Do they have an image? Yeah, this right here. This is what you will be getting, the pre-rift kit. In that pre-rift kit, it comes a deck with one now of the 9 champions. If you actually did any of the past pre-rifts, there were not the full or legends. They actually were not every single legend. It was like a hand-selected group of legends. This time for Vendetta, because there's 9 past sets, there's actually been substantially more than 9. This one has 9 legends. Because it's 9, you can get one of the 9 legends in your box, and they build a little bit of a deck around it, and you're going to get booster packs inside of it. What you will do is you will get 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. You rip open your packs. Hopefully you get some saucy hits. Hopefully you get signatures. Hopefully you get some of the new, promos 1 through 6 promos cards that they have in there. Hopefully you pull sauce, but you will build the deck. And you also do not have to use the legend it gives you. We'll actually go over, I built what I would consider a tier list. We'll go over that tier list after we go through this whole thing. But I would say there are definitely some legends that you are going to kind of hope for other than other ones, but we'll see what you get. The goal is to build a deck. The thing is, it has to be minimum 25 cards. I would highly, highly, highly recommend sticking to that 25 or as close to it as possible. That way it's in your advantage to pull the sauce cards if you have any sauce cards or whatever kind of combos you are going to build. With sealed, so normally you can only have 3 copies of a card. This you can have unlimited copies. If somehow you pull whatever, you are allowed a unlimited amount of the cards, and you're allowed up to 3 domains. So normally each legend has 2 domains. With sealed events, you actually can add a third one. There are some other rules here. You are not limited to the runes or tokens that you open in your packs. Your LGS should have a set of runes for you, so you can go grab whatever runes you need to. You have your chosen champion and your signature cards. The one thing is, though, they don't have to match. So normally, if you were going to use Jace Legend, so if you were going to use Jace Defender of Tomorrow, your champion with it has to be Jace. When it comes to sealed events, so this is your pre-rift, and this also accounts for any sort, though, of sealed event, they do not have to match. That is for, so if you're doing a whole box, because if you go to like a regionals or something and they have a full sealed booster box, that is an event. When it comes to that, yeah, it's these rules apply across the board when it comes to sealed. So their example is, if you have Nasus Ascended as your chosen champion with Lightning Rush in your deck and Shen Eye of Twilight as your legend, your 3 domains could be Calm, Chaos, and Order. And they're all different. None of them have to match. You can use battlefields that you open or face down as a blank battlefield. So if your battlefield cards that you pull are not beneficial at all to you and potentially hurt you, you just play the battlefield face down and you say it's a blank battlefield. So it has no special attributes, no +1s, no if this happens, blah, 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 whatever it is. You can change your starting configuration of your deck in between games and rounds. Don't be afraid to alter and build as you go. So if you somehow start with Jace and it's because you had 1 really good or 2 really good gear cards, and then you get absolutely destroyed and you're not pulling those gear cards and you're too reliant on the 1 or 2 in your deck, okay, you can swap out Jace and put in another legend if you'd like, or champion, vice versa, whatever it is. That if you lose early, you'll have a lot of time. If you go to the very end, they will give you time in between. Kind of like your sideboard, you can swap out anything in your deck though. So yeah, all of the cards that you pull are capable of essentially being your sideboard. The one thing is the Riven Shatter promo card. Let's see where the Riven card is. So the one that says pre-release on it, you cannot use that in your deck. This is the same that they've done for past pre-rifts. For Unleashed, it was a Ash pre-release card. You could not use the Ash pre-release card in your deck. You will get that though. So when you go, you're going to get this cool pre-rift kit. It's going to have the Ash promo in it. It has the special pre-release stamp. It will have your, legend, a little bit of a deck built around it, and then you're going to have 5 booster packs. 5 booster packs. I think it's 5 booster. Let's see. I think they explained if it's 5 or 6. Either way. And yeah, you'll have, like I said, I think 30, 40 minutes to kind of build what it is. But yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty easy in comparison to other, when you show up for any sort of event. It's very similar to this if you're doing sealed. So if you go to regionals, if you do sealed box, sealed boosters, anything like that, it's all the same rules. So it's a good time to learn it and also kind of to master it, because sealed could be your best bet at prize tickets. Also, even if you lose and you don't get prize tickets, you're getting sealed product. So especially for those of you who plan on going to things like regionals, go to the RQs, all that stuff. There you go. Yeah. 5 booster packs. I know it was like 5 or 6. You will get a pack themed around one of the 9 champions. These packs: a legend, a rare champion, a battlefield, support cards for all the champions. And yeah, so for the first time, it is one of all of the 9 legends. In the past, it's been like a set of like 6, I think they kind of picked. And so there definitely were some that you could not get. Some general rules that they have are suggestions. Most decks, you want to have at least 15 units that can fight for you. You'll approximately want 5 of them to cost 2 energy, so you have players on your first turn. If you go first, you get 2. You get to flip over 2 runes. If you go second, you get to flip over 3 runes. So the whole goal is to get something in play beginning, especially because you only have a 25 card deck. It can go if you don't get something out quick, the game can get out from under you pretty easy when it comes to, especially I'd say the pre-rift, where you have very limited options on the table. Um, the rest of your units can be more expensive. A diversity costs. You have powerful plays. Yep, you have a ramp, right? The goal is to get kind of a solid ramp. That's what you want. That is the goal. That is the absolute dream. So, yep, there you go. Gives you just an idea of pretty much like what you kind of want to have. Um, Non-unit cards, gears or spells. We'll go over certain champions. For instance, if you pull some really strong gears, then you're probably going to hopefully want to have Jace. So, but also the inverse. If your deck is Jace and you don't feel like you have very strong gears, even if you get the Jace deck, you might not want to play Jace. So you're going to really want to play it around. And they do give you, like I said, a little bit of a starter kind of deck that comes with it. So you have some cards to combo off of. So you're not like completely dead in the water. But it really probably depends more on those booster packs you pull, because depending what you pull in your booster packs, that could have, that's going to have a better, potentially stronger ramp, or just some of the stronger cards that exist in the set. The pre-rifts, obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously because you might not know, but when you're doing a pre-release event, it's only going to be cards from that set. So it's only going to be brand new cards, and a lot of the cards will have very similar themes. So Unleash, for instance, one of the biggest mechanic it brought out was probably XP, right? So for this one, you're going to have Flow, Burn, and Empower. Burn is basically milling, you know, uh, trash it or banish it, play from your trash. There's be some now milling. Empower, you pay a certain amount of runes, you recycle a certain amount of runes, you do certain things, and basically it empowers your units so they get an additional ability, stronger, whatever it is. Flow lets you play cards from your trash instead of from your hand. Burn sends cards from the main deck to the trash, and Empower gives potential strength. So that's what we're getting. We're getting into milling now. That's for anyone who's played TCG, especially my MTG folks. There is milling. So we will go over the legends. These are the legends that you will get or could potentially get. One of these 9. Jace. So if you recycle one, not recycle, if you exhaust one rune and exhaust Jace, you get to ready up a gear. If he is empowered, you will ready up 2 gear. So that means in one turn you could potentially use, really, you'd be able to do 2 gears. You could potentially use them twice. So you get 4 gears basically to use it if he's empowered. He'll probably have cards in his deck that are gears and kind of to help work it. But depending what you pull, I think it's going to be situational strength there. Kennen, when you play a card from anywhere other than your hand, empower me. If you, and then his action for this for Kennen is you exhaust him. That's tapping. If you're not familiar with Riftbound terms, tapping, exhausting. You give a unit assault 2. Assault is if you were attacking into a battlefield, you get +2. Probably very strong, but again, it's going to rely on cards that you can play out of your hand. If he does not have cards that can play out of his hand, he's useless. So make sure your deck, when you're building it, adding, subtracting, all those things, it is fully optimized for playing cards outside of your hand. Next up is a Kali. So empowered. You get to empower her by basically just exhausting 3 runes and recycling 1. So the the cost is exhaust 3 runes, recycle one. So she has a 3 rune, 1 power. That's what they call recycles power. So that would empower a Kali. And basically, with a Kali, you just exhaust her. If it's your turn, move a friendly unit in a showdown to base. And then if a Kali is empowered, you get to ready that unit. So the whole point is, think of when a Kali's in a fight, she does her dash out and then does like the flip dashes in. That's what they're kind of recreating there with her and her empowerment. Next up, you've got Mbessa. When you empower something else, empower me, disempower me. So she'll lose empowerment. And then you'll recycle 1 rune. That's 1 power. And you exhaust Mbessa. You get to ready up a unit. So that means a unit could attack and move. That means a unit can move and then attack, all those kinds of things. So it basically gives you a 2 swing. So you can conquer a battlefield. Let's say it's now your unit's exhausted. You can ready it up if that means you need to move it back to base or elsewhere, whatever it needs to do. So pretty strong, mostly because I think that her deck, and I think you're going to find a lot of cards that will be able to empower. So for her, she just gets to get kind of like a free empowerment. This is, I think, going to be the weakest, absolute weakest. If you pull this, I think you are going to be desperately looking for a legend to swap out. I don't think there is going to be much in Pre-Rift that gives you an advantage here. But when you play a unit, gear, or activated ability with an energy cost of 7 or more, so it's a big one, right? It's going to be heavy ramp. Unless you have other cards that can get runes out, get you energy out. I mean, you're looking at what? This is turn 3, turn 4 before you can even use your legend. Not ideal. But basically, if that happens, you can exhaust Susan, tap him, and you can ready up 2 runes. So yeah, not bad. The if that we will see how this deck looks. I could be completely wrong, and there may be some really strong cards for this ramp to happen or an ability to get into the ramp. But without that ramp, you're really up shit creek without a paddle, right? Like you're just dead in the water. Next up is Zed. When you banish a card you own, empower me. Then he has action, so you get to use that at the action phase. There's different now. Each one of these, it's like normally you'd have different phases attached to them, but this is an action phase, so showdowns, whatever. Action, disempower me by exhausting him. You discard a card and then draw 1. So depending what cards they give him, depending what cards you pull, this can be really beneficial, especially if it's a card where you can play it from, basically what's happening is you're going to take cards, put them in the trash, play those cards from the trash, then banish them. And that's probably what his whole deck is built. And if you get some other cards that you pull at Pre-Rift that can build into your deck, this should, work pretty smooth. And you're going to get to move pretty quick there. That's like each turn you can get an extra draw in. And while normally discarding is not ideal, this set clearly has cards in it that you actually want banished because you'll just be able to play them from banishing. And with it being only 25 cards, a smaller deck, you're going to have a lot more options to be attacking, moving, doing things. Hopefully, that's what you want. That's the ideal state of Pre-Rift for you. So Zed, I think, could be very strong depending, again, what cards they put in the deck and what cards you pull. Shen is really simple. At the action phase, you get to exhaust him and give a friendly unit tank this turn. Tank is basic is exactly like what you'd imagine. they have to take damage first. No matter what, normally they would get to dictate what they will attack, who they attack on the battlefield. With tank, they are going to have to attack it. So what's nice is if they have one attacker, and let's say you have a card, and let's say you have a token out there. I don't know, a 1/1 token or a two bird token out there. You can make that token take all the damage, sponge it, and now your actual unit is still safe. So we will see what cards they throw in that. Also, unlike all of the past pre-rifts, so we are now at parity with China. In the past, we were not parity with China, so we had a lot more information of what weird cards we were going to be getting, what pre-rift really even looked like. That is not the case anymore. So we're kind of gonna figure it out as it goes along. Renekton has basically you will recycle 2 runes, so 2 runes in play, put them back into your rune pile to grab another turn, but recycle 2 runes, and you get to exhaust him, and you add just 2 energy. So the upside is, and because it's a reaction, so if you have something that you can play, you get 2 energy for free, basically. Because if there are, you can have already used those runes by exhausting them, then you recycle them for this. So it doesn't have to be ones that were sitting there. It means 2 that you could have already used that turn. The only thing is, this energy can only be used to play units or activate abilities of units. So there is a big caveat there. It's not just 2 free on the house. It's to play a unit, especially if it has hidden ambush, and I am sure in this deck there will be some sort of ambush cards or something that will really make this ability worthwhile, or um, units with abilities, basically, that will be worthwhile. Next one up is Mel. Mel's probably one of the strongest, if not strongest. So when you empower something else, Mel becomes empowered. So there's no cost to it, anything. You just have to have other cards that can get empowered. Disempower Mel and exhaust her, and you give a unit at a battlefield -2. So, like, if your first turn, especially if you go second or something, um, but if your first turn, if you can get a unit out, and especially if you can get it to a battlefield, if it with Mel, if it comes out empowered, that's -2. Like, and most units that they're going to get to a battlefield are probably already going to only be 2 might anyway. It kind of guarantees you a win on the battlefield, especially round 2, where most combat will probably in showdowns will happen. That's going to be huge. I really think Mel will probably be the strongest card, because I think that -2 will really dictate the first few points given, and then you probably just are going to snowball and go up from there. But these are the 9 legends, and these are the 9 decks. Um, if somehow, like Susan, they're going to give you some sort of card, they'll actually probably give you the actual Nasus card, where let's look at it. Vendetta. It's probably his main champion card that they're going to have in there. Where's he at? It's what, where you, if he comes in empowered or whatever, he gets to get an extra point for conquering. So you might have this one, which is once each turn, enemy unit here dies, channel 1 rune exhausted. So you might have him, but where's the other one at? Why is Rengar in there? Did we pass it? Um, this one. So they're probably going to give you um, one of the curators of Sands, or Ascended. So basically, the problem is it's a 16, so it's a really expensive fucking card. It's a really expensive card, but if you're able to play it empowered, well, guess what? Anytime he conquers, you score a point. So I am sure one of these cards are going to be in that deck. Oh yeah, it's just the alt card of this, but one of them will be in it to actually make him useful. I just think the problem is if you pull a Susan, so let's say you pull, that's your actual deck. My only concern is the game will have gotten out from under you before you can even get a 7 cost or higher anything on the field. So yeah. Here's my tier list though. I think this is where I've kind of put tiering at. I would say a Kali is going to be just the fact that even if she's not empowered, being able to move a unit from showdown to your base. So if you're about to lose a unit, you can immediately pull it back. That way you can go whatever you need to. Then also if you have a Kali empowered, you get to ready it. That has some big advantages, especially for pre-rift. I think that has some big advantages. No bears in S tier. What kind of list is this? There's no bears in this set. I don't think. I don't think we're getting any bears because the only real bear in Riftbound is Volley Bear. So I don't think we're getting a new Vol. Oh, that's a wolf. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get any bears. I don't know if there's any bears. I really think right now the only thing that really has bears is Origins with Volley Bear. Um, I think in Bessa, when you empower me and something else empowers, so you get to just disempower her, recycle a rune, and ready a unit. That's very cheap. Okay, I'm taking back, burn this game down. We'll take, hey, once I'm done with this breakdown, we'll take a look at what the best of Volley Bear card has sold for. And how expensive the best of Volley Bear. We'll do a little bit of Volley Bear love to balance this out. And then as I said with Mel, as long as you have other cards empowering, which this whole set is built around, and I'm sure there's going to be cards even in her pre-built one, you disempower her, exhaust her, and you give -2 might. I think that's very strong. A tier, Shen. I think giving a unit tank, I think that will become very beneficial as you can use really squishy units to be sponges to let you ramp. So I think it will let you get into ramp territory. So I think it's pretty strong for pre-rift. And then Renekton, as long as his deck and everything, I think having 2 pretty much free extra um, rune to use. Um, Pretty nice. Situationally good. This really depends. Really, 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 really depends what is in the decks and what you pull. If you pull some really good gears, or they give you some really good gears, Jace is very, very strong. Jace is probably S plus tier. Same thing with Kennen. If there are a lot of mechanics and cards that you're playing from out of your trash, I think having Assault 2 is even better than Mel's -2. So I think for early game, I think Kennen becomes very strong. And then same thing with Zed. If you're able to banish cards, I and when you banish all the abilities and they're very strong cards and you're able to build those combos, I would actually probably rate these cards even higher than most of the S tier. But we don't know what the decks are yet 100%. I'm not sure. I don't think you're going to want Susan. I'm gonna keep it a $150. I having done pre-rift and other sealed events, that you don't want the game to get out from under you. having something so bottom heavy or top heavy, I mean, right? We're talking round 3, round 4 before you even get to ramp up. So that would be my general tier list, I would say, when it comes to that. All right, let's see. Let's look. Okay, this is what from The Hobbit. A lot of stats, but the turn it enters, and you only need one bear for the first counter to draw. Trample. Other bears you control get +2/+2. At the beginning of your combat, beginning of combat on your turn, put a trample counter on up to one target creature control. It becomes a bear in addition to other types. Then, if you control 3 or more bears, draw 2 cards. How much did you pay? How much did you pay? How how much money? How much money went into getting that card added into the fold? Hmm. Hmm. Ain't no way. Ain't no way they did this type of card. Ain't no way they did this card without Sub did something. I'm gonna tell you right now. I put money on it. Sub absolutely, absolutely made something happen. He did something. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he did. He called in. He called in a favor though. I think pre-rift though. I think pre-rift is looking it's going to be pretty fun. I think this is a little bit more of an exciting set pre-rift wise than Unleashed. I mean, Unleashed we had Yi and Ivern, and like I don't think I don't think there's enough XP get XP fast for most people when it came to Unleashed for them. Ivern, you might have been able to get a few birds and stuff going, so maybe, but I think for the most part these are all pretty strong. Like if these decks are built pretty strong, um and they give you like some solid okay starting cards, and then you're able to pull a decent card or two, I really think you're in good shape. I actually think this is uh, there's really only pretty much one deck you ideally don't want to get. All the rest of them, I think you're in pretty good shape. I think so. I think so. So yeah, Vendetta Pre-Rift.